This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. We have Ladies' Day, and that is by far my favorite day. Hello, ladies.
I love Ladies' Day.
It's good to see you. I get a lot of by far. Get the minute.
And Erica has on my favorit belt.
Nope,
that's from Sex and the City, so please acknowledge the belt.
Sarah Jessica Parker actually gifted this.
I was about to faint. Oh my God.
I was like, Michael Dean canceled the A block.
Stressed me out.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh,
that was crazy.
Dang, y'all.
Yeah, we were about to
All right, we're also
out.
fainting over some very interesting stories, like the January 6th committee. They are holding another hearing today that will focus on violent extremist groups, like you might have heard, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. These are those people that stormed the Capitol. It will also focus on the ties between former President Trump, his associates, and the far right, including that Trump may have known his supporters were armed and dangerous, and that they were called to the Capitol by a tweet from the former president. Now, we're going to show you the tweet. It reads, "Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Be there. Will be wild." So how did members of extremist groups take this tweet? How did they read it, right? Here's what the ex-wife of the Oath Keepers leader had to say about it.
He would have seen that as a go-ahead. He would have seen secret underlying signals in that, whether they were there or not, and they may have been there, that it's going to be okay as long as they keep the former president in office. That no matter what happens, as long as they're loyal to him, that it's all going to be okay.
So what do you think of this? Do you think that tweet was a call to arms for extremist groups or not? That's what this 6th committee has to prove to the American people and, of course, the Department of Justice, who would take criminal charges. Lindsay, what do you think about that? What do you think about the tweet?
Well, I think that's the important thing. The whole point of the committee is to prove, they kind of laid out in the beginning what they plan to do. And part of that is prove that Trump and his allies are connected to inciting this entire riot that happened at the Capitol on January 6th. And they've done a good job by bringing aides like Cassidy Hutchinson, and then now having Sifiloni speak today. He's somebody who advised President Trump and was in the room and can say exactly what was happening in those moments as the Capitol was under siege and what President Trump was or was not doing, because many people called him to act way faster and he did not. So I think it's going to be interesting as we may hear that taped testimony today, and just to say how him saying it's going to be wild connected to leaders of these racist hate organizations going down and doing these vicious acts. And I do think it's important to note that a lot of people are already indicted on seditious criminal charges by the federal government, and so there are many people that are actually in trouble already.
Right, many Proud Boys.
And so maybe if the full connecting dot doesn't say President Trump's wild tweet connected to this, the people that actually ran in the building, knocked on Nancy Pelosi's desk, tried to kill Pence, these people are actually about to get in a lot of trouble without connecting President Trump. And so I'm excited to see the hearings today. At first I thought it was a lot that we already knew, but now watching them, you're getting some insider information that was really deeper than the news reports that we saw.
Yeah, and Erica, I wanted to also give you a little bit about Cassidy Hutchinson, that aide. I don't know if you guys saw, she testified, and she said that they were told before the Capitol riot, Trump was told they have weapons. And he says, "I don't bleeping care they have weapons. They are not here to hurt me. Take away the mags," which is the metal detectors. And then later, 4 days before the riot, we heard Mark Meadows, the chief of staff, say the president is going to be at the Capitol. He wants to look powerful. Things might get real, real bad on January 6th. Tell me, does that help you link it up to, he makes the tweet, he says at one point to the Proud Boys, stand back and stand by during a debate when asked to tell them to stand down. All these things are symbols.
Right.
Language.
Well, they're more than symbols.
Right.
It's actually playing in the face of the American public. When we talk about dog whistles, what do people think that term means? It's everyone, there's a noise, and only the people who are adept to hearing it are going to pick up on it and translate it as well. Trump has always been playing in the face of the American public. He has been speaking very openly in terms that his followers and people who are diehard going to support him are going to understand.
Right.
Here's the issue. This is precedence, right? So we already know that our most powerful leaders, or our most people in office, weren't even safe on January 6th. The American public was not safe. Our democracy was not safe. So contingent upon what happens with these proceedings, it is important that we hold everyone to the highest level accountable, because what the president at the time could have done was to come out and say, this is unacceptable, this is going against democracy, I do not stand for this. None of those things happen. So either everybody's lying on him, or he's the only one that is the one who's telling the truth.
Right,
Like,
right.
I mean, what is
more rational, right? Yeah, I remember when he did finally give that speech or the message, and he finally said, I love you, go home. And I was like, I love you? They just defaced the Capitol. I was shocked. All right, let us know what you think. But speaking of politics, who do you want to see run for president in 2024? Well, a new poll is revealing some bad news for both President Biden and former President Trump, who are seen by many as the likely candidates. So get this, 64% of Democratic voters say they would prefer a new candidate. They're saying Biden's age, 79, is the most important factor. He is the oldest president in history. And if you look up at a matchup between Biden and Trump, only 44% support Biden's run, while just 41% support Trump. So what do you think of this new poll? And if not these two old white men, sorry, I feel like I had to say it. Sorry, who do you think should run instead? I feel like that's what people are sort of thinking, am I right?
better you than us?
Yeah, I'll take that one, right? What do you think? I know, Lindsay, you and I have talked about our dream matchup. What would be for you a dream matchup 2024?
Well, first I want to address this poll because honestly, this is what people have been saying. Like, you can't run on the fact that you're not President Trump in 2024. It worked in 2020. We get that. That's effective message, because at that point, after the insurrection, nobody should have been voting or thinking about President Trump, even though 70+ million people were. But I think if we look at who's been effective, in my mind, and we keep hearing DeSantis' name, we hear other people, but I think Nikki Haley should run. She's somebody who stepped aside before it was cool to step away from the Trump presidency. She's somebody who was a UN ambassador. She understands cultural context by removing the Confederate flag from the State House, which was very important to people, especially in those southern states. And so that's somebody on the Republican ticket I would like to see throw her name in the hat. And then, of course, Stacey Abrams on the Democratic side, because she has just been effective in actually winning President Biden the election. She's been credited with that entire mission and just really getting people of Georgia, but of the United States, out to vote. And so if you talk about formidability, those two would be it for me.
That's a great matchup. Stacey Abrams and Nikki Haley are both really formidable. I like that. I am going to go with, I know it's going to be DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, if you don't know, is governor of Florida. He's already doing very well. Even Trump said, I'll be his VP, like as a kind of a joke. DeSantis will take the Trump group and move it forward, I think, in 2024. He will be the new Trump. For me, I would like to see Pete Buttigieg. And if you don't know or haven't seen him on Fox News recently, he's debated abortion with Chris Wallace, and just recently, Brett Kavanaugh being escorted out of a restaurant because of protesters. He is such a fine speaker. And I have to be honest, I've been so uninspired by Joe Biden. I know he's a good guy, and people are going to write to me. He is just not inspiring me when I need it the most, as what I say is the consoler in chief. I think Buttigieg would be a fantastic addition to the lineup. I know he didn't do as well as he'd hoped before, but I think that was a toe-in.
Some people are just looking for that inspiration, like Obama, but that's not all you can look for in a president. You have to look wholeheartedly at who's going to effectively represent you in all the issues that are most important.
True, especially in the climate right now.
Agree, but guess what? The only bill that's gone through that's big is infrastructure. He's Secretary of Infrastructure, Department of, Infrastructure. I'm going to say it one more time. Infrastructure. Infrastructure. Coming up on DBL. It's the biggest day of the year for Amazon Prime Day. We are talking about the steals and deals. Are they really worth the hype? And if you want some guaranteed savings, you have to stick around, because we're joined by the coupon queen herself for easy money saving tips.
Closed captioning provided by
every day.
So lately I've been getting really hot. And like really hot, like hot flashes, it's just whatever. And I've just turned 40, and I was like, is anyone else hot? Is anyone else like dying? And no one else is.
It's also been record heat.
That's true. Denver's been in very record heat. It's very true.
As the oldest person on the panel.
That's true.
It's crazy that it was actually, like, anytime I moved around in the last couple of weeks, it's been warmer here. And I've been offended because I suffered the full winter and I'm missing the 100-degree days. Like, I'm enjoying because Denver has then it's not humid. Like when I was in Houston, it's like so humid. It's like can't even keep a hairstyle. You know what I mean? Like this is just a dry, nice.
It's so weird. This has been the second day, I think tomorrow will be, that breaks like an 8-year record high for Denver. It gets hotter and hotter. And you're right, in DC, which is built on a swamp, the humidity when I went home was like, you're wet when you walk outside. You're like, oh. So I always wanted this, I agree. But by the way, my flowers have all died because they burned. Anyone else? They burned.
Well, my flowers did not die because they are all fake.
Well, that's what I said. So Sam last week was talking about how she always takes care of her plants and all that stuff, and I was like, juxtapose that to me just ordering from CB2 this nice fake plant that will last me a lifetime.
I love it.
I have one small real plant though, just to clean the air.
I do too. I have one small
It does
plant
clean the air.
in the bedroom. Actually, it's a big one, and it doesn't take a lot of you don't have to. Right. Then we have one in the kitchen, and the rest are fake because on our patio it is tropical year round.
But doesn't it feel like no one shames me, but I shame myself when my real plants die, like the big ones that I'll get. Like I got one of the big ones from my
fiddle
kid,
tree
and
or
just
whatever.
watch it turn brown. I'm like, you can't even take care of it.
I'll start texting you like,
Welcome back. Unless you're living under a rock, you probably heard that Amazon Prime Day is happening right now. It's a 2-day event with big deals on a ton of stuff like electronics and beauty products. So just last year, Amazon took in more than, oh my Lord, don't look up. Okay, you looked up. I was going to have you guess $11 billion in sales for its Prime Day event. DBL Nation, we want to know what you think. Are you taking part in Amazon Prime Day? So go to dblvote.com. And we're also curious, do you ever buy something just because it's a great deal, only to later regret that you spent the money at all? So write in on any of our social media pages like YouTube to let us know. I bought a Mophie last year that's really big. It's
What's a Mophie?
It's a charger for your phones, but it could do for days. And it's like a nice brick size, right? But we were trapped on a plane for 7 hours, and that thing kept me and Brooks. It has 2 plugs. We were happy as clams, even though I don't know if clams are happy.
You were trapped on a plane.
Yeah, I'm confused.
7 hours. It kept getting pushed back to Boston. People were having some drinks.
I know that because I talked to you guys when we were all locked inside the house separately, and I know that y'all both were ODing on Amazon Prime, okay? Well, maybe not Amazon, on every shipping. Erica has every bedazzled mask available to order. And so I don't know if she got them from Amazon or where. And I know that you were ordering random stuff like I was like, oh, I think I do need a new can opener. Even though I have 3.
Yeah, right. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm not really that big on Amazon as of late. I mean, I do actually, because my husband was very, very adamant that I cannot order anything because apparently I ordered feminine products at the beginning of 1 week, and then I got a notification that said feminine products were not being produced as much. So I was like, oh,
There
I
is a
need to
shortage.
Yeah, tampon shortage.
Tampon shortage.
So then I ordered it thinking like, oh, I need to order just to make sure, forgetting that I ordered before. And then I went to the store, and I'm just so used to buying them.
Oh, no.
So he made a Christmas tree of boxes of tampons.
Oh gosh.
Y'all, if anybody needs tampons, I'm the girl, okay? I have so many tampons, so I am
fact that he
actually
made a
on
tree.
an Amazon Prime hiatus. I should have taken a picture.
That is hilarious.
It's a full tree.
Good for Anthony. Very structural.
It's like addicting if we're talking and Colin's like, oh my God, we need this. Immediately I'm getting it's like an accomplishment that I'll get on the phone and get it done, and it'll be at the door within like 3 days,
and you
maybe
feel like
less.
you feel like you've won, and Brooks is like, you haven't won. You've spent money.
It's a game.
I'm like, oh,
It's
like,
a game.
dings.
Yeah, but if it's things that you're going to need eventually, I was like, look, I am never going to run out of tampons.
Amen.
There you go.
Amen. Let's take a look at what our people have spoken. 26% of you say yes, 48% of you say no, and 26% of you say it depends on the deals.
Wow, there's 3 options today.
Yeah, check on the tampon.
That was a fancy.
We all know we're getting fancy over here. Coming up on DBL, is clipping coupons really worth your time? The queen of coupons is here with money-saving tips you truly do need to know about.
This Facebook post claims it costs $153 to fully charge an electric vehicle. The picture shows an EV charger at a Walmart, and it's gotten a lot of attention. More than 125,000 shares and more than 12,000 comments. So we're verifying, does it cost $153 to charge an electric vehicle? Our sources are Electrify America, which manufactures these chargers, Walmart, which partners with Electrify America, and several auto manufacturers. First, let's identify what kind of charger is shown in the photo. Our first clue is the Walmart in the background. Walmart is partnered with Electrify America, a national EV charging network with more than 2,400 chargers spread across the country. Walmart's website says it has more than 120 ultra-fast charging stations in 34 states. That's key. The chargers in this picture are ultra-fast chargers, also known as superchargers. Superchargers deliver up to 350 kilowatts per hour. As a result, they can charge an electric vehicle from 10% to 80% in 18 to 50 minutes, depending on the model of the car. According to Electrify America, the highest cost to charge your car in the United States is 43 cents per kilowatt hour. The largest EV battery on the market right now is Mercedes EQS at nearly 108 kilowatts, which enables the car to travel over 450 miles on a single charge. So to charge that car from 0 to 100% would cost just over $46, a far cry from the total in the post. It's also worth noting that using a supercharger is the most expensive way to charge an EV, much more expensive than charging at home. So we can verify, no, it doesn't cost $153 to charge an electric vehicle.
Prices keep rising, so we love to find any way to save some cash. So earlier, we spoke to the queen of couponing for tips and tricks to snag the best deals. Y'all, check this out.
Welcome to the show, Brianne Beauvais.
Yes.
Queen. Ooh, welcome.
Yes, Coupon Queen. So why do they
you.
call you the Coupon Queen?
Well, I'm known for being able to go to stores like Walmart, get over $100 worth of products for about $4.16 out of pocket, which is super exciting. My best hauls, though, are typically at CVS. That's my favorite store to coupon at, where I easily get over $100 worth of products week after week for either free or sometimes I'll actually make money couponing, which is why couponing can be so powerful.
Okay, so let's talk about the monthly savings. How much money has couponing saved you each month, but also how much time do you have to spend each week putting all of your deals together?
So once I learned how to coupon and coupon the right way, I'm now able to get 4 or 5 times the amount of products for 75% less, which is incredible. So one month I thought it would be fun to calculate. In June, I grabbed $1,309 worth of products, a variety of different products, and my out-of-pocket cost was just $53.
What?
So I coupon, it takes about 5 to 6 hours a week.
That's amazing.
Wow. So you, like you were talking about, you use several methods to coupon, right? To save money, coupons, reward programs, cashback apps. This seems a little intimidating, like you were saying, for a beginner. How do you suggest someone start?
It can definitely seem intimidating at first, and it's mostly because a lot of people try to dive in head first and coupon at all the stores and do all the things. So I always recommend pick one store, download the app so you can start getting comfortable with the different digital coupons and such. I teach couponing like an upside down pyramid. So the more levels of the pyramid you participate in, the more money you're going to save.
All right, so this question's for me personally. Sometimes when I go to a new site, it says save 10% by signing up with your email and phone number. Is that worth 10% in the end for getting emails and phone calls for life?
I think so personally. At the end of the day, I typically don't put my phone number because that's a pain in the butt. I don't want people blowing up my phone. But in email, I feel like everybody has that junk email address that they can use. So I have a specific email that I use so that all my coupons and stuff go there.
All right, so I'm kind of a couponer. Is that what you call it? Couponer? Couponer.
Yeah.
I do like Retail Me Not. I look up stuff just like you said. CVS is really helpful. You know, it's changed.
CVS?
The CVS.
Who print out like a
but if
thing
you're
this big?
Look at her.
Yeah, I can't with those.
It is a little
Yeah.
long. Do you have like a digital way or a favorite way of doing it digitally that's changed from those old days of the binders?
I go to the store's app. So for CVS, for example, that is my favorite store to coupon at. They have the weekly ad with all the sales and everything right on the app, or you can do it on a computer, of course, as well. They have digital coupons, so you can just clip the digital coupons right on the app. Then when you go to the store, purchase those products, you type in your phone number at the checkout that's associated with your account that you have. And then when they scan the products, they hit total, your digital coupons come off, which is incredible. And then my favorite rebate app that I would say is Ibotta, because they give you actual cash back. It doesn't have to be a gift card. So you can literally transfer it to your PayPal or even directly to your bank account.
Okay, so because you know more about couponing than anybody, what are some of the rules that you live by that you can pass on to us and our viewers?
Well, there's 4 rules that I typically live by. So number 1 is to coupon once a week and do it consistently at one store. The second rule is only buy products you need. Don't get stuck in the trap of, oh, but it's 50% off, right? It's exciting that you're saving 50%, but at the end of the day, if it's not a product that you need or you're going to use, you're wasting that money and it's coming out of your budget. The third rule that I live by is if coupons or deals aren't working, say you get to checkout and you're expecting to pay $10 and a bunch of digital coupons aren't working, maybe the system is having some issues and technical problems, don't feel obligated to pay for it. Don't feel embarrassed. Void the transaction. There's always another deal.
We're running out of time, but luckily with that graphic, we were able to see your 4th tip. Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us and teaching us some money-saving hacks, DBL Nation, to learn how you can save more and even take classes from the coupon queen herself. Check out her website, BrieCouponQueen.com. Thank you so much, Brie. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
It is time to verify friend or foe, a pest no less. The carpenter bee is all the buzz this summer as it carves itself a home right in the middle of your new deck. But could there be more than meets the eye? Well, I saw this post making the rounds on Facebook. Pauline commented, "Their damage is minimal. Please don't kill something for the damage you imagine they might do. Research their behavior first. They are actually quite beneficial." So let's verify. Our sources are the North Carolina State Cooperative Extension and Frank Fowler, biologist and wildlife division manager at Forshaw, who confirm, yes, it's true.
Yes, I did say beneficial. They are great pollinators. They do burrow into wood, which can cause a problem on decks or the side of a house, but they don't eat wood. They're only excavating that nest site out to raise their young.
Carpenter bees are among America's 4,000 native bee species. They look like bumblebees, but carpenter bees are shiny, not fuzzy on their abdomen, and usually hang out around fence posts or siding. Carpenter bees emerge in April and May and are solitary critters who don't form colonies to make their nests. A pregnant female bee will carve out an entrance hole in the wood. She'll then make a little tunnel of galleries where she stores pollen nectar balls to feed her offspring. She's a busy bee, to say the least, so it's unlikely to give you the time of day.
The carpenter bee female has a stinger. They're solitary bees, so they're not going to aggressively defend that nest, and the risk of getting stung is very, very small. The male has a white dot between his eyes that you can see very clearly, and they don't even have a stinger.
So carpenter bees are the bee's knees. It's true, they are very beneficial. They pollinate flowers, helping grow food, and cause only small damage to wood. The Cooperative Extension warns even painted, treated, and pungent woods like cedar can attract carpenter bees. And because they don't eat wood, insecticides might not work. The best way to keep them out of your wood without harming them is by giving them an alternate place to nest. You can buy or build a carpenter bee house. Just make sure it's not a bee trap. With your Verify, I'm Megan Malaris.
You've heard of bad weather canceling your flight, but what about hot weather? Let's connect the dots. To understand how heat can impact your flight, we need to think like pilots. And they say planes interact with the air like we interact with water when we float. As a plane heads down the runway, it pushes against the air, and the air pushes back. Higher than expected temperatures can interfere with how the air pushes. That's because higher temperatures make the air thinner. When this happens, planes need more power and fuel, which means more weight, adding another obstacle to take off. Right now, there isn't an easy solution. To get around the challenges, airlines might move long-haul summer flights to early morning or late evening when it's cooler, making scheduling a flight a bigger headache. Airports may even have to lengthen runways to give planes more distance to reach takeoff speed. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back. It turns out weekend warriors can be just as healthy as those who work out every day. That's today's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. So adults should be getting 150 minutes of physical exercise per week. It can be difficult, yes, to find time during the week through with scheduling around work. You got errands, you got chores, but a new study says you can pack all that exercise in over the weekend and see the same health benefits as regularly active people. QB is such a great way to get some quick exercise regardless of physical ability or age. So go ahead and try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-291-4341 or visit QB.com to learn more. Sorry, I missed the numbers.
This is funny because Colin and I have a trainer we got recently, and he texted us because we've been out of town for a little while. He's like, so I know you're back, because he lives on our block. And we've been like, oh, we were going to slow roll it to like next week.
You're all knock, knock. Hey, where are you? All right, before we go, we got to talk about this. NASA. Mazel to NASA. They are releasing the very first pictures taken from its giant new space telescope. Check out the one they released this morning. It's of a picture of a star nursery in the Carina Nebula. The crazy thing about this picture, it was taken through a cloud of cosmic dust and can show us how stars form. This was the picture NASA released yesterday that was on everyone's Insta. It's of a galaxy cluster as it appeared more than 4.6 billion years ago, before the Earth was even formed. It is the furthest we've ever looked into space. These pictures were all taken by the new James Webb Space Telescope that cost a whopping $10 billion to make. So essentially, we're looking back into time.
That's crazy. I was wondering what type of camera that was, a $10 billion camera.
It's on Amazon Prime. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.